It was a bit of a gamble Hopoo Games took when they brought their popular 2D roguelike platformer Risk of Rain to the third dimension. But it was a gamble that paid off big time. With glowing reviews around the board, Risk of Rain 2 is probably one of the most beloved video games of all times. They somehow managed to bring the gameplay experience to a whole new level while maintaining the feel of the original game. It is very much still Risk of Rain. The VR mod by DrBibop manages to do something similar. It is still Risk of Rain, but once again transformed into something new, elevated to something more. Welcome survivors. If you haven't played Risk of Rain before, let me give you a short breakdown of how the game works. You get dropped down onto an alien planet where an endless stream of monsters pours down upon you. For killing monsters you level up, passively making your survivor stronger, and you get currency that you use to stack up on items, most of them giving you passive buffs, but some can be activated. The longer you stay alive, the stronger the monsters get, so you always try to stay ahead of the curve by combining the right upgrades to create a strong build. When you decide it's time to move on, you can activate a teleporter event. That gets you into a boss fight, and after completing that, onto the next environment. You do this until you kill a final boss, if you decide to face him. You obliterate yourself, which is an alternative way to end your run, or until you die. In any case, for the next run you will have to start from the beginning. It is a roguelike. There's a meta progression though in form of in-game challenges, which let you unlock new items, new survivors and skill variants for your survivors. And there are secrets, lots of secrets. To play Risk of Rain 2 in VR you need to install a mod, which is very easy to do. The recommended way is to install the Thunderstorm mod manager, and with that you are just one click away from playing Risk of Rain in glorious VR. Well, 2 clicks away. Links to the mod manager and the VR mod are in the description below. The mod brings the game to first person and adds motion controls. The primary attack is on your right trigger, the secondary on your left, which means you can aim at 2 different targets at the same time. Your utility skill is on the left grip, your special on the right grip. It didn't take long for me to get used to the controls, they feel natural. One of the strongest points of Risk of Rain is that all the survivors play and feel vastly different from each other, and the mod does a stellar job to bring this concept to VR. Every ability feels good to use and each character maintains his unique playstyle. I'm not the biggest fan of the melee combat, but I mean Risk of Rain isn't exactly that much of a melee game in the first place. All survivors are playable in VR, including those from the Survivors of the Void expansion, but it does not end there. The mod also supports some custom survivors like Samus, the Tesla Trooper, the Enforcer and the Paladin. Some survivors have unique features in their VR implementation. Melee weapons can be used by swinging your arm. The commando has a gun in each hand, so you can shoot 2 different targets at the same time only with a primary attack. If you don't like that, you can turn that off in the very expansive VR settings that let you customize basically every aspect of the VR gameplay, including comfort options, switch between wrist and camera focused HUD, how some survivors skill handle and much more. You can also play the game in VR third person if that is your thing, but then you will have to plug in a controller. Multiplayer is fully supported. You can play together with other VR users and with peeps playing on a flat screen, even if they don't have the mod or any mod installed. Let us talk performance real quick. I played on a 2070 and had to turn down some graphic settings to get to 60 FPS. The game is pretty taxing on the GPU. But once I got there, the frame rate was very stable. No lag spikes, no frame drops. Be aware that this is a very fast-paced game with a lot of verticality, which is something we don't see often in VR. Many VR developers are afraid that their games can be uncomfortable or cause nausea for some people and prefer to play it safe. This leaves Risk of Rain 2 VR pretty much alone in this void where very few VR developers dare to go, making it kind of an essential VR experience to pick up because there's nothing quite like it. In the beginning of the video I said that the mod elevates the game to something more. While this is still very much Risk of Rain, it is a different game than the flat version. Risk of Rain is, at least for me, a very relaxing game, which seems a bit strange as you are always on a timer and it is a constant stream of fast-paced action, but it is so easy to get into this flow state that the game has a nearly meditative quality to it. The VR version isn't like that, it is far too intense. This is just 100% constant high-octane action. That is neither a good or a bad thing, it just means that the VR version does not necessarily replace the flat version of the game. They both have a place next to each other. The mod is still in active development, there are things on the roadmap like the haptic support, so you can expect updates along the way, but it feels feature complete to me. It is very stable, very polished and has every feature I could wish for. There really is only one thing I could think of that I would like to see, and that is higher detail weapon models. The weapon models are very small in the flat version of the game, up close they seem a bit bland. But yeah, that really is a minor point. I always enjoyed Risk of Rain 2. I haven't played it a lot though, just did not get to it, but the VR version absolutely rekindled my love for the game, and I can see me playing the flat version as well as the VR version in the future. They both are equally excellent, they just serve a different gamer need. So Risk of Rain in VR? I absolutely recommend it. That is it for me today. As always, leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Bye!